We're looking at the Dancian 3A system, and that is the top left system on the list of 5 different systems in the suite on the page that looked like this. So this is the page from Wednesday's meeting, and we're looking at this system up here, Dancian 3A, top left. So we're going to do a test of this Dancian 3A system on its own in isolation, apart from the other 4 systems. One thing that you wanted in the meeting last week was to see how each one of these 5 systems did in isolation. So this is going to be a test of how the Dancian 3A system did in isolation. So we're going to look at how it did starting in 1986, going all the way through November 15th, 2011, this year. We're going to be looking at all liquid futures markets, 69 total, and here are our entry and exit breakout rules here. So we're going to be taking a long position if we hit a 44-day high, and we'll be closing out that long position whenever we hit a 28-day low. Also, we would be taking a short position on a 44-day low and closing out our short position if we hit a 28-day high. And we have our stop there in ATR at 3.8, and our days of ATR we have set at 39. And this is one number that from now on will be the same across all 5 systems. That was one of the things you mentioned on Wednesday. So this number will be the same across all systems, 39 days for ATR. This is talking about the risk per trade, and we'll look a lot more at that in a second. And up here, this MACD, this is saying that the Dancian breakouts are just, they're going to need to be confirmed by the longer term trend. So as long as the 75-day moving average is above the 300-day moving average, then we can place a long trade when the 44-day breakout occurs. And the same way, if the 75-day moving average is below the 300-day moving average, then we can place a short trade on a 44-day low breakout. And the actual indicator itself, this MACD, just really quickly, is short minus long. So we're going to take the 75-day moving average minus the 300-day moving average. And if we get a positive number, short minus long, if that's a positive number, that means we're good to go for placing a long trade down here, because that means that the short is a larger number than the long moving average up here. And in the opposite way, if we take the 75-day moving average minus the 300-day moving average and we get a negative number, a negative indicator for our MACD, then that tells us that we can place a short trade down here. So that means that our short breakout would work. So we're hitting a 44-day low here. We can place a trade if this MACD is a negative indicator, meaning that the long-term trend is in agreement with what our trade says. So since we're testing each one of these 5 systems in isolation, the other thing to take a look at is the starting equity amount. And so on Wednesday, the piece of paper we were looking at with the 5 systems on it was talking about an allocation percent. It was talking about an allocation percent of 50, which means that on a $25 million account, the system was only going to be able to trade pretending like it had 50% of $25 million, or $12.5 million at its disposal. And so Dancian 3A, which is the system that we're looking at, this 4428 system, we will be pretending like it only has $12.5 million to work with, not the full 25. So if we go to global parameters, we can see exactly that that's set correctly. We also have interest to be earning, that's set to true. We have slippage, commission numbers already in here. 10% slippage, 5% roll slippage, $5 per contract in commissions, and yes, we are accounting for contract rolls. We'll go through all of that more in a minute. And let's go ahead and run the system, Dancian 3A in isolation, on 50% of the $25 million account value. So how would $12.5 million have done starting in 1986 on the Dancian 3A? Run simulation. So here are the results. It has an annualized return of 18.5% right here. It has a maximum daily equity drawdown of 16%, and then longest drawdown of 23 months, just under 2 years, 3,300 trades approximately. And if we scroll down, we can also see this system's maximum drawdown to be able to compare it on IASG, Autumn Gold, Barclay Hedge, those kinds of places. So the maximum drawdown using that method would be just 12.25%. You see the margin to equity ratio here of 16.8%. And on the next video, we can look at some sample trades from this particular system. And I'm going to press stop now.